Alright, ebusu mo bibia kwa bamfambra 2K ni sembloso e YouTube so ase ebusu afọ yaba as usual ensem ahodo a ekoso Ghana se ne beso ahefo ene etiefo nyina na ebusu me kasa yin no ensem bi aba betodwa ne nyina afa ehechese NPP ni ba ko ho a ebusu han chai kra ana ne ho nsem betodwa wa abra chese parliament ebusu a omo di dwuma no abrante bufu ya wasesa ne files ne boost ahodo ne ade a so PF parliament so no kra ontena honom due to one or two reasons bintino na me no say kasa yin no Abranti wa brand na yesi ahwehwe ne so bitima kwa kupiem e wo parliament na hye fio no na wakwa kodi ne dwuma no yesi ansan so hu ne biu na bisun ade na ekosin nipa America ne ho asem ye friend Ernest Kumi na abusun ensem nyina enchirimu ha se me pesem kasare tenten krebeko yakwa akogye enchirimu de beba babetena se ne di ho enkomo series tie message so nya subscribe from my YouTube channel ya na subscribe am na bibia so etim ai kama obu ne ende kwa so medin ere kwa am gentle.
Attempted arrest was raised. He was in the chamber. Today he is not around. At the time the news conference was addressed about an hour ago by the minority leader, he was also not around. But generally, since the news of his conviction became public, he has been attending Parliament. In fact, the day the conviction was announced, he was in Parliament. In subsequent days, he has been around because, as you know, when members of Parliament are in the House, they cannot be arrested for the privileges that they have by virtue of they coming to Parliament or they leaving Parliament to their various homes. And so he has been attending. Today he has not been around, but generally he has been coming to Parliament.
Well, so the Interior Minister as well has been talking about how the operatives operated on law, which means anywhere he's found, he can be arrested or what?
Well, that is not something the minister did go into as whether or not they will be pursuing him to arrest him. But as you may know now, the Supreme Court is seized with the matter. In fact, they have granted the application of the Member of Parliament to put on hold the conviction for them to hear whether or not subsequent or decisions must be taken with regards to the actions taken by the Florida High Court. So the minister did not give any indication yesterday while he was answering the questions, whether or not they will still be pursuing him. The only thing he did say was that at the time, if the arrest was successful, it would have been carried through and they would have detained the Member of Parliament because the court has convicted him for contempt. Apart
from that, what's happening in Parliament?
The Lands Minister has been answering questions on illegal mining, providing updates on the news that broke this morning. Revoked all mining licenses granted past after December 7. He's also been clarifying that they will also audit all other contracts or leases, licenses that were granted since the last government took office in 2017 to ensure that they were properly granted. And in fact, he has also announced that his deputy, Yusuf Sulemana, will be leading this committee on this matter. So that is the update from what we are doing in the House today. There's also been questions from the Education Minister, and later we expect to have the Minister for Works and Housing also answer some questions.
Right. Thank you, Kweku, for updates from Parliament. Away from that, some commercial transport operators in Kumasi are asking government to announce an increase in the Ahmed Swale assassination case. He has been held on a provisional murder charge. The arrest and arraignment of Daniel Owusu-Korante, managing director of Aspire Company, marks a major breakthrough in the case that has gone cold for years, raising concerns about security and safety of journalists in Ghana. Ahmed Swale was shot and killed by armed men near his family house in Medina on January 16, 2019, after he collaborated with the BBC on an investigative piece about corruption in African football. Here is legal affairs correspondent Latif Idrisu with updates.
Near his residence here at Medina, 6 years. And today, the first suspect, and preliminary, he's been charged with murder. He's been arraigned here at the Medina Magistrate Court. Daniel Owusu-Korante is a colleague, an investigative journalist, and a businessman. Today, he's been arraigned at the Medina Magistrate Court, and preliminary, he's been charged with the murder of Ahmed Swale. Today in court, prosecution told the sitting judge, Susie Nyankote, that the suspect, Daniel Owusu-Korante, has admitted to taking photographs of the deceased, Ahmed Swale, but he has denied selling same photographs to the former member of parliament for Asin Central, Kennedy Ejapon, who later brandished the photographs of Ahmed Swale on his Net2 television and encouraged his supporters to beat up the investigative journalist wherever they find him. But Daniel Kranting has told prosecution that he did not sell Ahmed Swale's photographs to the legislator. The prosecution told the court again that on the night Ahmed Swale was assassinated, call records traced Daniel Owusu Kranting at the residence or within the neighborhood of Ahmed Swale. And immediately after his assassination, Daniel Owusu Kranting, according to prosecution, fled the neighborhood to his Amasaman residence. These are the facts as presented by prosecution here at the court. That, according to the lawyer for Daniel Owusu Kranting, and I'm talking about Kofi Esel, he said these are allegations, and he described those allegations in court as being shambolic and urged the court to grant his client bail. The judge, who I must say was equally surprised at the murder charge leveled against Daniel Owusu Kranting, questioned the prosecution that if
a charge sheet on an offense of murder. First, we're talking about abatement. Today, we're sprung up with a surprise charge sheet with one count of murder. And they prayed the court to remand our client with no basis.
you describe it as shambolic charge.
Shambolic charge sheet. I said so in court. Because they have nothing on our client. It's just a multitude of suspicions and allegations and hearsays that have been put together. And the law never crystallized any evidence. It is just for someone's career to shoot up. And someone has to go down. And that's what they are doing. It's just mere witch hunting. And we'll deal with it in the law courts. We are not media men, we are not journalists. We'll deal with it in the law courts. So the investigation is being perpetuity. We started this investigation in 2019. We invited our clients, we said we will come. And we missed out on one day. We come arresting him. We want a remand. I wouldn't want to say more. We don't want to go into details on it, yes.
You are coming back on the 1st of April.
Yes, we'll be here.
What do you expect to happen on the 1st of April when you get here?
The police said they would amend their charge sheet. As I said, it's shambolic. It doesn't hold any water.
Today, I stand before you not just as a journalist, but as a witness to history, a child of Ghana's turbulent past, and a soldier in the fight for truth. Yesterday, in the Essex County Superior Court of New Jersey, an 8-member jury delivered a unanimous verdict holding Kennedy Ejapon, former Ghanaian MP, liable for defamation and awarding damages of $18 million. The ruling is more than a legal victory. It is a profound affirmation that truth matters, that justice is not a privilege of the powerful, and that the arc of history does indeed bend towards righteousness. My story begins long before this moment. I was born at the 37 Military Barracks in Accra, the son of the soldier who served in an era where power belonged to those who wielded the gun. I grew up watching my nation transition from military rule to democracy, witnessing firsthand the struggle of ordinary Ghanaians yearning for justice, transparency, and accountability. When Ghana finally embraced democracy, I knew that safeguarding it required more than just laws. It needed the unyielding courage of those willing to hold power accountable. That is why I chose journalism, not as a career, but as a calling. Over the years, my team and I have exposed corruption at the highest levels, from the corridors of politics to the halls of justice. But in fighting the corrupt, one becomes a target. Mr. Ejapon, in a desperate bid to silence me, labeled me a land grabber, an extortionist, a murderer, a tax evader, and a blackmailer who ought to be hanged. These were not just lies. They were calculated attempts to destroy my credibility and put my life in danger. While Ghana's legal system failed to deliver justice in 2018, the U.S. court upheld truth. This case was not easy. Proving defamation in the United States requires establishing actual malice by a clear and convincing evidence standard, one of the highest legal thresholds in the world. That the jury ruled 8-0 in my favor on every count is a testament to the fact that Mr. Japan acted with reckless disregard. Regrettably, Ghana's justice system has not always lived up to the principles of fairness and impartiality. When I sued Mr. Japan in 2018, despite his inability to legally substantiate his allegations, the court ruled against me, with Justice Barr scandalously branding me a terrorist instead of adjudicating the facts before him. This miscarriage of justice was later condemned by Supreme Court Justice Kolende, who rightly described it as a violent abuse of judicial authority. My fight has never been for personal gain, but for the soul of Ghana's democracy. This victory in the US sends a powerful message. The media cannot be silenced, truth cannot be buried, and those who wield power must be held accountable. Let this moment be a wake-up call to all who seek to erode the foundations of justice in Ghana. Let it remind us that democracy is not just about elections, but institutions that uphold the truth, courts that deliver justice without fear or favor, and citizens who refuse to accept corruption as the norm. To my legal team, Andrew Dehere Esquire, Arthur Womega Esquire, Evans Salasi Adeka Esquire, and Odei Kro Esquire, I am forever grateful for your dedication to justice. And to my supporters in Ghana and around the world, your unwavering belief in the fight strengthens my resolve. The battle against corruption continues. We will name, shame, and jail. Ghana deserves better, and I will never stop fighting for a future where justice is not a privilege of the powerful, but the right of every citizen.